What if the very strength that got you to where you are today is the exact thing keeping you from where you want to go? You know, for the longest time we've been told that success requires constant hustle. We wear our grit, our tension and our struggles like a badge of honour. We use past pain, old rejection and trauma as the fuel to push ourselves forward. But let me ask you an honest question. Are you driving your purpose, or is your pain driving you? Because when you constantly fight reality, you operate out of survival mode. You create an intensity that actually pushes away the opportunities and people you're actually trying to reach. So today we are breaking that cycle, and I'm going to show you how to stop letting your past control your future, and how shifting from force to fortitude will unlock a higher level of impact and personal peace. And the first phase I want to talk to you about is the trap of constant push, the fuel that actually drives you. You know, there are two ways to move forward in life. You can be pushed by pain, or you can be pulled by something more empowering. And many high achievers are incredibly skilled at converting painful memories or crises or past hardships into this pure warrior energy. And that works for a while, I get it. It gets you out of the tough situations and helps you break through initial barriers that you will encounter in your life, that we all encounter in life. But operating in constant push mode creates an invisible tension in your body, an invisible tension in your body and mind that compounds over time. And when you carry that survival intensity into your daily life, you start projecting your past trauma onto your current reality. You look at the world through a lens of struggle and conflict, believing you always have to fight hard to get whatever it is that you want. But the problem is that what got you here won't always get you there. So it's time to trade that heavy, exhausting push that many people are accustomed to. They get used to it, for an attracting force, a driving force anchored in a vision and refinement and possibility. The second phase I'm going to talk to you about is the power of maybe. That's breaking free or letting go of your absolute certainty about what things actually mean, what these events that happen to you mean. Think about the classic parable of the old farmer. You know, one day a wild horse wanders onto his land, and the neighbours say, "What a blessing." And the farmer simply replies, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse runs away, and the neighbours cry out, "What a terrible tragedy." And the farmer replies, "Maybe." A few days later, the horse returns with 2 more wild horses, making the farmer rich. And the neighbours celebrate his good fortune and inform him that he is so lucky. And the farmer says, "Maybe." Then his son breaks both legs trying to tame one of the horses. And the neighbours lament his bad karma. And finally, a war breaks out, and every able-bodied young man is forced into a deadly draft, except this farmer's son, because he's got a broken leg. You know, the neighbours rejoice at the miracle, and the farmer once again says, "Maybe." The story never ends. The problem is that we decide exactly what a crisis means the moment it happens, and we hang on to that meaning forever. And when you become rigidly certain that your past defines your limitations, you shut off your higher consciousness, which can lead you to what's truly possible in your life. And the third turning point is accessing all your internal power with ease. You know, most driven people rely entirely on the warrior power, which is great at first. You know, I used to see it so many times in my early sales career when I was training reps out on the road. You know, a sales manager or boss wants you to go, go, go at whatever cost. Drive, motivation, get out there. And this is still advertised in sales positions I see today. It's posted on all the major platforms, and it kind of pisses me off because I know what's going to happen. All they care about is the bottom line. And I know that's all managers are the same, all businesses are the same, but they weren't so much interested in the well-being of that person. You know, we want a hard-driven go-getter. Then they blast them if they don't perform. No shit, Sherlock. They have it all backwards. You can't have a good salesperson or any employee of any kind for that matter without the foundation of a calm emotional state. And with no hard pressure. Pressure pushes everything away, makes it worse. It happens in all walks of life. You know, I was never asked in my 20 years of sales experience and several places I've worked for, I was never asked, you know, how do you feel? Are you okay? because that's the foundation of a person that can produce any kind of result. And I know because I reached the top, and it wasn't through hard selling. And the best salespeople that I ever worked with were calm and composed, no matter the situation. And they didn't give a shit what the sales manager thought because they didn't have to. They were producing the results. And, you know, thankfully I fell into that category myself in the top salespeople after being coached by some of these fantastic mentors. And now I teach this to others. I got coaching from these guys. It wasn't free. In fact, I paid a lot of money, but it was well worth it. I made my money back tenfold. Now, don't get me wrong, the warrior is great for fighting battles at first. There's a place and time and a place for that. But if you leave the mental warrior in charge of this brain 24/7, you'll end up fucking exhausted, hyper-vigilant, and totally burnt out. I guarantee it. I've seen it all the time. And that's why stress is the #1 killer of society today. You end up resenting your boss, you hate your job, you feel physically and mentally like shit, and you want to quit. And I saw so many good salespeople out there who do very well, and they quit their job because of this bullshit pressure. All these fear tactics from their arsehole managers. And they didn't know how to regulate themselves. These managers didn't know how to regulate themselves. Yes, they were under the pump as well, I get all that. But at what cost? And it just amazes me to still see this happen to this day. You know, true spiritual and emotional maturity happens when you can step out of force and step into your true self. That's when magic happens. That's when sales happens. We're in the zone. We're in a calm and empowering presence. When you can accomplish more with a sense of ease and elegance. And when you do this, you stop forcing a smile and start experiencing genuine peace with a calmer, more magnetic energy. You know, true power isn't about how hard you can strike, how hard you can push yourself to work. It's about how much you can achieve while remaining composed, aligned, and at peace with who you are and what you're capable of becoming in that moment. In that moment, you're in front of somebody. Thanks so much for watching. If this message resonated with you in any way, please drop a comment, like and subscribe, as that helps me out a ton. And you'll also be notified of new content that I put out there. Also, please download your free Magical Mind Secrets PDF in the pinned comment below. And watch this next video here. This is the one YouTube recommended for you. Peace out. See you in the next video.